So welcome to a review video, something a bit different from the norm. This time it's on the INKBIRD IBS-TH3 plus Wi-Fi. It's the newer version of the TH3 which they already have out. This one has some upgrades to it. I was kindly invited by INKBIRD to review this on their behalf. And yeah, stick around, I'll let you know how I think it can be useful for us homebrewers and pizza makers. So as this is a school night, it's only fair that we're drinking halves, don't you? Iechyd. So let's kick off with first impressions of the initial boxing. It's one of them nice good quality hard boxes. On the back here it's got a little bit of information, but more importantly this is where you scan for the instructions of installation and the app itself, which is very intuitive to be fair. So in the box we have the device itself, as so. I think that pops out. Yeah. And simply a USB. Last disaster. So this is a device with the stand that pops up at the back. It hides the on-off switch at the back here. And here is a cover for the USB-C charging point. However, gotta be said that this won't be kicking around long. It's not attached or tethered to it, however it's quite exposed behind here anyway, and you wouldn't have it in too wet areas. Even though it is a moisture detector, you wouldn't have it in a wet area, and it's designed for indoor use anyway, so I can't even get that back in. So if we switch it on, we have those displays. So as you can see, you have the temperature, which you can change from Celsius to Fahrenheit to suit yourselves, and the percentage humidity. And what's great about this, within the app you can set your parameters for both, and also set an alarm. So if the temperature were to go below your desired temperature for fermentation, for example, it would set off an alarm. So in terms of the device itself, in terms of functionality and buttons, everything's done through the app, apart from setting on the side here, and that is your connection for Wi-Fi to hold it down for 5 to 8 seconds. And when you're in the app, it's very intuitive how to set that up. Now in terms of the Wi-Fi range, for me, as most of you might know, my garage, shed, brewery isn't connected to the house. It's in the garden. It's quite a distance to the router. I'd say 20 meters or so, maybe 25 meters, and a few walls in between. So it's quite a good range on this. Whilst I've been testing it, I've had it in my fermentation fridge and it's been reporting fine back to the app. So it's bound to work closer, such as in this shed and as well as in the house. The main purpose of doing this review is I feel that this device would be quite handy for somebody who wants to monitor the area or the temperature and humidity of the area in which they're fermenting. So for me, for example, I currently have this bad boy who is sat in the open. I don't have a very good heating or chilling mode on it. However, this time of year for us, which has been uncharacteristically warm at 25 degrees or so, it's not a problem. However, some people that brew don't have a purpose-built shed or fermentation chamber, so you would use your cupboard under the stairs, which is a constant temperature, or so you may think. And that's where I think this comes in handy, because you may be confident that, yeah, my temperature is pretty constant throughout the 10 days, 2 weeks that it's fermenting for. Not that long for pizza dough, obviously. But what is it? What is the actual temperature? So I think this would be really handy as an entry-level purchase into at least knowing and reacting to temperature fluctuations for your fermentation, which we all know is the key part of brewing a decent beer. So this device has allegedly a Swiss sensor, which in terms of real-term accuracy, from what I've seen and experienced with this, it is pretty accurate to what I have seen, and I've checked against my old school not analog mercury thermometer, as well as my digital probe here as well. So as I mentioned earlier, in terms of the alarms for this to set it, personally I would set this with a very narrow range for the temperature for brewing, and I probably wouldn't set an alarm range for the humidity, because it doesn't really matter with humidity for fermenting beer, as you can imagine, but it would be for pizza dough. However, for temperature, depending what I'm brewing, I'd like it to be no less than 20 degrees and no more than 23, just as a rough guide, obviously allowing for accuracy of what the temperature of the beer is, etc. So I'd start with a narrow bandwidth like that. And the alarm, this doesn't set the alarm off, it sends a message via Wi-Fi to your phone, and your phone notification goes off saying your beer's in trouble, you need to do something about the temperature, which I think is really handy. Obviously it has more conventional family and lifestyle attributes, such as having this in a baby's bedroom and stuff like that, but yeah, we're homebrewers and we want to try and repurpose things for making beer, surely. So in the short time that I've been testing this, I have had it in my fermentation chamber, I've had it in our messiest under the stairs cupboard, which only gets sorted out once every year when we fill the bottom cupboard with wine and spirits ready for Christmas. So in terms of setting the alarm off, I shall try to demonstrate live on here on the app. So you can see that's how clear cut and simple the app really is. Even flicking over to the more button, you can see the trend. Now you can set this at different intervals to record. I've got this at once every 10 minutes just for me to see how quickly and how accurate and reliable this is as part of this review. So on the bottom there you can see, middle of the page, you can see the logging interval, and it ranges from 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1, 2, 3 and 4 hours. And you also have temperature calibration, which it is already calibrated out of the box, and then you have a temperature alarm. So I can set this alarm between -40 and +60 degrees Celsius. Hopefully we ain't going to get anywhere near those two. So I'll set the alarm at 20 as a minimum, and I'll set it as 22 for the maximum. And need to hit the side button to synchronize it. And there we have it. the device itself says that it's high, and I've also had a notification on my phone, as you can see, saying IBS-TH3 plus high temperature. Excellent. It's USB-C rechargeable, no need to replace the batteries. It's 500 mAh battery, so it's not a bad size for the size of device. You can also have it hanging up somewhere, nice and fancy, such as there, there. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with this little tool. It's going to come particularly handy for me to monitor the temperature in here as we come into autumn and winter, to know when and how I can start better monitoring the temperature of my bigger brews, which sit outside of my fermentation fridge where I've jimmy rigged it all together, ahead of obviously buying any serious pieces of kit for a lot of money to be able to control this more efficiently. But yeah, highly recommended. If you want any more information about the product, I'll link them in the description below. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the box below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And in terms of the next brew and the next video, I'm feeling, coming into autumn now, it's that time, innit? It's that time where we need to get a black beer on the go, and maybe I'll make my chili chocolate porter or the cherry chocolate porter. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Iechyd.